Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Beast's favorite football team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Don't buy Carl's gummies, everyone. Worst mistake of my life.
Hello, folks. Welcome to episode 11 of season 2 of the GOAT series. I'm your host, Jeremy Hadler, and today I'm going to talk about the greatest Bucs player in franchise history, and we got our special guest, Mr. Zachary Brazick, who was on our last episode here, folks, with the Carolina Panthers.
Thank you for having me back. NFC South, let's go.
Of course, he's not a Bucs fan, he's a Browns fan, but he's a huge fan of Baker Mayfield and would love to appreciate the Bucs franchise. He respects it a lot.
Oh yeah, lots. They are my second favorite team. I know some people don't like saying they have a second favorite team, but I do. I can't lie.
Yeah, there we go, folks. Right there, folks. Now, as I always do on the GOAT series, and I read from the script here that we're going through, like I'm reading right now on this monologue that currently says it. I'm going to go to the rules like I always do here. We choose 5 candidates on this video and the series here who we think is the greatest Bucs player of all time, up to this franchise, up to this point, as we like to do. And we have honorable mention, which when we have guests on, they have the opportunity to choose an honorable mention, which Zach does here, and we'll get to do that. I have my honorable mention as well. Now, when we do the criteria here on the show, we like to do it for the candidates, which is going through the accomplishments with the team, tenure with the team, how they played with the team, stats with their franchise, and how are they on and off the field. And at the end of the video, we choose our ultimate Tampa Bay Bucs GOAT, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start off with our guest, Zach. Who do you have as your honorable mention, sir?
Well, thank you, Jeremy. And with my honorable mention today, I don't even know if I can call it an honorable mention. I think more like a just fun guy to mention. With my honorable mentions, I usually like going modern players. Sadly, the Buccaneers don't have any really good kickers or punters or offensive linemen, really. So I just am giving a very quick shout out here to the best nickname in Bucs history, GOAT nickname.
Ooh.
And that is the muscle hamster Doug Martin. Now, the reason I say he's not really an honorable mention is he only had a couple of healthy seasons, but in every single one of them, every year he was healthy, he had more than 1,400 rushing yards. He has a first-team All-Pro, a couple Pro Bowls, and he was just that guy for a few years. He's one of my dad's favorite players ever, which is very random but true. A fantasy legend for a couple of years. GOAT nickname, and just what a guy. What a guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was good, especially in fantasy. So that gives you a bit of a nod here for the fantasy perspective. But in real perspective, like he had a good couple seasons with the Bucs. And yeah, I definitely agree that's honorable mention. Definitely agree.
If he was just a few inches bigger, could have stayed healthier, he could have been like Marshawn Lynch out there. That's my bold prediction.
Ooh. There you go, folks. Zach's bold prediction. All right. My honorable mention, which I think this guy deserves some praise here, which is John Lynch, this safety back then for the Bucs, played 11 seasons with the Bucs. He's a Hall of Famer, even though he got in a little earlier than some other safeties, Leroy Butler, but I still hold grudge over him for that. 1-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 2 second-team All-Pro, made the Bucs Ring of Honor, 5-time Pro Bowler. His stats back in the day, folks, 23 interceptions, 42 passes defended, 8 fumble recoveries, 6 sacks, 788 combined tackles. He was a big piece of that Super Bowl team with the Bucs and was one of the cornerstones for that defense. Known for the hard hitting is what I really know him for. That's a big thing. And today, he's in the front office making one of the best rosters in the NFL right now, who haven't won a Super Bowl yet with the 49ers, but he's done a pretty good job with the 49ers. But in his player perspective, to give you a presence, he was a very hard hitter, folks, very hard hitter. But I think he definitely deserves some praise as a Bucs player. I definitely think he deserves this honorable mention piece.
Yeah, for sure. And it'll be fun to see if one day is he more known for being a GM or a player. We'll see. Let's see if he gets a Super Bowl with the Niners.
Next player on my list, this guy played 13 seasons with the Bucs as of currently right now, if I'm correct, as we're going to. 14 when we get to the season here. But that's what I know so far. Zach could correct me when we get to it. But that is Mike Evans, ladies and gentlemen. 1-time Super Bowl champion, 2 second-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 1-time receiving touchdowns co-leader. Stats, folks, as of right now. 762 receptions, 94 receiving TDs, 11,680 receiving yards. He's the first player, it's a fact, folks, in NFL history start his career with 7 consecutive seasons of at least 1,000 receiving yards. Now, and Mike Evans is the only guy just to do that. When we thought it was Julio Jones that could probably do it, Mike Evans did it for 7 straight seasons with at least 1,000 receiving yards. That's pretty incredible. Zach, what do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about consistent, underrated player of the last 10, 12 years, Mike Evans is that guy. I think this will be his 12th year, so close to the number said there, and has never had less than 1,000 receiving yards. It's also a just red zone threat. I mean, a tall man, like 6'5", but also super quick, great hands, great body control. There's really nothing that he can't do. And sure, people will always remember Tom Brady, a Super Bowl run, but with that consistency, he also had some horrible quarterbacks. I mean, you had Jameis Winston, who some people like, but, it's Jameis Winston. Mike Glennon, you had Josh McCown, probably.
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. I mean, now he's got Baker, so I hope that continues to have success. But just what an amazing player. And it was really fun to watch him last year as like a big Baker fan. I mean, what a guy. I mean, and really loyal. Like I know like it's only like 10, 11 years, but like that's a lot these days in the NFL to be on one team. Yeah. Let's see if he can continue. It's always interesting with current players, but being on the list, but let's see how he can grow those numbers. And last but not least, if any of y'all played Madden 17, the Mike Evans cheese, the aggressive catch, always caught it. Throw that Hail Mary to him, brought it in. That play was broken. Mike Evans cheese, everyone, from Madden 17.
Oh yeah, Mike Evans definitely gave him praise on my list just because of that. Definitely helped me out in a couple Madden matches when I played Zach and our other buddy Phil, who's been on here before. So he's helped me out a bit, and I got burned by Mike Evans because of that. So thank you, Mike Evans, for that. I appreciate that. But yeah, he definitely deserves it on this to be a candidate, and he's looking to retire as a Buck. He got his contract extension. He's looking to retire as a Bucs player to end his career because it's very hard, especially in modern day, to see a player like Zach, especially earlier, see a guy last on a team for so long and finish his career with one team. That is very rare in sports in general. Like I was mentioning with Aaron Rodgers before, it looked like he was going to be staying with my team the whole career. Then he got traded to the Jets. So it just happens, folks. It just happens where you really see that kind of player just stay with one team the whole time, though. Next player on my list, this guy is nicknamed the Gentle Giant. Yeah, the Gentle Giant. Played 9 seasons with the Bucs. Named Leroy Selman. One-time Defensive Player of the Year. 3-time first-team All-Pro. 2 second-team All-Pro. 6-time Pro Bowler. Made the Bucs radar. Made the NFL Hall of Fame. Stats back in his day, which is not totally accurate because they didn't officially count the stats until the 80s, and he played well before the 80s. That is 10 full recoveries and 78.5 sacks. Interesting fact about him, he's the first ever draft pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be selected as the first number 1 overall pick in 1976 NFL draft. 3 things stick out to me with him is his character, his leadership, and contributions. Zach, what do you think about him?
Yeah, Leroy Selman, like you said, he came to this new franchise. He came to the new team, the Buccaneers, who were very bad. They were projected to be bad, and they were bad, having a 0-14 year in there. But Leroy Selman was that guy, like defensive Joe Thomas or John Hanna. He was on this horrible team, but he was just different. I mean, he would be double teamed, but he would still get sacks. Really, really quick for a defensive end, especially with that era. I feel like you see that a lot today, but he was doing it way back then. Just sacking quarterbacks, helping his team any way he can, has a Defensive Player of the Year. My favorite thing about Leroy Selman is when you think those creamsicle orange jerseys that I love, you think Leroy Selman because no one else from that team was good, but he rocked those.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that is one of the best jerseys I will still say in NFL history you ever create. That is one of the best jerseys I see. I wish they brought him back. I honestly wish we see more of that, of old school, because back in the day, there were a lot of great old uniforms that are still good. Obviously, they're horrible ones, and they're still used today, like the Pittsburgh Steelers, Killer Bees, terrible uniform. But there should be some NFL teams to bring back some uniforms, and that is one of the uniforms I think should come back more often.
For sure. And yeah, there's new rules now about different helmet colors. So hopefully we get some of those soon.
Let's move on to our next player. This guy played 14 seasons with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is Derek Brooks, one-time Super Bowl champion, one-time Defensive Player of the Year, one-time Walter Payton Man of the Year, 5 first-team All-Pro, 4 second-team All-Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler, made the Hall of Fame. He's in the Bucs Ring of Honor. He got retired, has now retired with the Bucs. Stats: 25 interceptions, 6 pick sixes, 84 pass defended. Now, when you think of that, that might be a cornerback. No, he played linebacker, ladies and gentlemen. He played linebacker. 24 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, 13.5 sacks, 1,713 combined tackles. That is insane. Even for combined tackles for 14 seasons, that is pretty awesome to do in that time frame. Okay, the big things that stick out with Derek Brooks is his leadership, his versatility, his durability, his football IQ, and he's very active in the community. He was very great in off the field, and that needs to be recognition there, folks. Not to say against the other players, which they did, but he would very help out in the community, and he won Walter Payton Man of the Year. That goes to show he was very involved in the community if he won that award, folks. Zach, what do you think about him?
You need a great middle linebacker on your defense if you want that Super Bowl run. I mean, you saw with the last episode, I picked Luke Kuechly as a Panthers goat. So I like the middle linebackers. And, making over 1,700 tackles, I mean, that just means you're all over the field. Had a very long career, a lot longer than a lot of linebackers from that era. I mean, you talk about greatest players for a team. You want your number retired, bang. You want to win nice awards for your leadership. Walter Payton Man of the Year. Yeah, he checks off a lot of boxes. And even though I barely got to watch him play, I remember him a lot. So I think that says a lot.
Next player on the list is Rondé Barber, ladies and gentlemen. CB played 16 seasons at the Frank Gore of the list here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One-time Super Bowl champion, 3 first-team All-Pros, 2 second-team All-Pros, 5 Pro Bowls, one-time interceptions co-leader, made the Hall of Fame, made the Bucs Ring of Honor. Stats is what we got here, folks. 47 interceptions, 8 pick sixes, 197 passes defended, 15 forced fumbles, 12 fumble recoveries, 4 scoop-up TDs. He scooped it up, 28 sacks, 1,251 combined tackles, and that's for a cornerback, ladies and gentlemen. Like I mentioned with Derek Brooks as a middle linebacker. CB, pretty ridiculous to do that. And the big thing I know about Rondé Barber is he made the clutch interception against the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, Donovan McNabb, and returned for 92 yards for the TD to send the Bucs to the Super Bowl. That's one of the biggest things that he did, and that was a big piece to send the Bucs to the Super Bowl. And honestly, we all know what happened with the Bucs in the Super Bowl. They won it against the Raiders. It happened because of that there. That was a big, big highlight of his career, was that play right there, folks. Zach, what do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, truly a ball hawk. Is an amazing corner, an amazing author. Wrote a great book with his brother Tiki. And just speaking about his brother Tiki, football families are always something people like. You got you got the Mannings, you got the Kelce's. The Matthews, the Clay Matthews, all that. I mean, there's a lot, but the Barbers might be one of the more underrated ones, I think, and a great player, Rondé Barber.
Yeah, absolutely underrated book too. I like to mention. I think it's a pretty good book, especially when we had to read in elementary school.
Yes, read it, everyone.
The last player here before we get to our ultimate Bucs GOAT, that is Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp played 9 seasons with the Bucs, one-time Super Bowl champion, one-time Defensive Player of the Year, 4 first-team All-Pros, 2 second-team All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowls, made the Bucs Ring of Honor, guy has never retired with the Bucs, made the Hall of Fame. His stats: 3 interceptions. That's not much when you're pretty much a defensive lineman person, folks, when he's pretty much a defensive lineman. But the nice thing he did in that 3 interceptions, Zach, is one of those was a pick 6. And how many times do we see a big man on that defensive line get a pick 6? Never.
Well,
we never see that.
BJ Raji.
Exactly. BJ Raji is really the big guy I can really think of this moment that has gotten the pick 6. But Warren Sapp is another guy, BJ Raji, that do it. So that's pretty fantastic. He had 15 passes defended, 15 forced fumbles, 9 fumble recoveries, 77 sacks, 406 combined tackles, 22 QB hits. Love to see him hit the quarterback. Nowadays, you really can't hit the quarterback as he did back in the day, which, I mean, we love it back in the day where you could really hit the quarterback as hard as you could. Now you can't today. So I don't know if Warren Sapp could play in today's game because of that rule, but that's a big thing for me. Okay, the big things that stick out to me with Warren Sapp is he had quick first step. He was able to disrupt offensive players, and he had great pass rushing skills. He was able to stop that and do pretty good. Zach, I hand the floor to you, sir.
And
Go.
the one thing I like about Warren Sapp, doesn't have to do about this, but when he was on NFL Network, he might still be, but I don't think he is. He was pretty good on there, I must say. So shout out to him for that.
Hey, it's the best football channel, honestly, in my opinion. You want to go look at the news and break stuff, it's NFL Network. They got the best stuff. ESPN, no. Adam Schefter, bye. No. He's trash. So is the rest. I mean, you got Rex Ryan in there, and Rex Ryan, he does not have a great opinion, folks. He really doesn't. The only person I will say that is good on that is Dan Orlovsky. That person I appreciate of his take, but I give everything else to NFL Network. I mean, of course they have Adam Rank, but I mean, it's Adam Rank. He's always going to be very controversial to schedule. But Ian Rappaport is your go-to guy, like Adrian Wojnarowski for basketball. That's your go-to guy. When you need football news, he's your go-to guy. Now we get to our ultimate Bucs GOAT, folks. Who is the greatest Bucs player of all time in franchise history up to this point? We leave the floor to Zach right here. But, folks, leave it in the chat here. Who you guys are Bucs GOAT? Zach, you start out. Give me the floor here.
Wow, thank you. And as a Bucs second favorite team fan, there's a lot of pressure. And, I must say, I'm not on every one of these videos, but this seems like an extremely hard one to pick. I mean, I think all five of these players you could say, I mean, maybe even John Lynch. I mean, not really, but even he, really good. So I got to start eliminating somewhere. I'm going to start by eliminating Warren Sapp. I just feel like for a defensive tackle, it takes a lot of. I just think there's better guys on here. I think Leroy Selman was better, and he's pretty much the same position. So bye Warren Sapp. I'm also going to kick off Rondé Barber. I don't have any genius reason. Maybe he should have just wrote books, because he wrote. As much as I hate it, I'm gonna kick off Leroy Selman. I think he just defines that era of creamsicle jerseys. I really like him. If I was older, maybe, but bye Leroy Selman. So that leaves me with Derek Brooks or Mike Evans. It's really, really tough. I know Mike Evans being there, it doesn't happen much with current players, but the resume is insane. All those 1,000-yard seasons. Derek Brooks has a lot of things. I think I got to play it a little safe. You never know what'll happen with Mike Evans. Maybe he goes crazy. Maybe he requests a trade. Who knows? So I think I'm going to play it safe. I don't love it, but I'm going to go with Derek Brooks. I think you can never go too wrong with Derek Brooks. I mean, the middle linebackers are extremely important, especially in that era.
Yeah.
I mean, the 1,700 plus tackles. I mean, that's insane. He's all over the field. Leadership. Walter Payton Man of the Year is awesome. He has his jersey retired, has the Defensive Player of the Year. I just don't think you can ever go wrong. Mike Evans has a Super Bowl, but it's basically a Tom Brady Super Bowl. I mean, let's be honest. So I think Derek Brooks maybe had more to do with his Super Bowl. So I'm going to say Derek Brooks. Very hard list. And if there's any real Bucs fans, let us know in the comments who it should have been.
For me, first off, I have to get off my chest is that it wasn't a Tom Brady Super Bowl. It was mostly that defense that caused to bring that championship because we obviously know what all happened for the Bucs to win that Super Bowl. They kicked my team's butt, which should have never happened, but they did. And I congrats for them. But you go look at that Super Bowl too, Zach. What happened in that Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes? No offensive line. That defense shred him apart.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think in 20 years, people will just remember that for Tom Brady. But maybe not. Maybe not.
To me, it's not because I'll say it here as I've always said. I said it last season. about the whole GOATs, about the quarterbacks real quick so I get on a little rant here for you guys, is Tom Brady has had the most top 10 defenses in his career. Go look at the other great quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger. You look at that whole QB era, there's really no top 10 defense. Throw in Payman even. There's really no top 10 defense of all combinedness. Brady's had more than all of those quarterbacks combined. Just letting you know. Letting you know that it wasn't always him. It was the defense a lot of the time.
Controversy here on the GOAT series.
Just saying. But back to the GOAT series of where I go with the Bucs. Rondé Barber and Derek Brooks. I mean, it's very tough between these guys because both of them were a big part of that Super Bowl run with the Bucs the first time they won. I mean, that's not to mention with the other guys too here, but Rondé Barber made a great book. Made the Hall of Fame. Going to get his number retired, maybe, if it happens. Made the Bucs Ring of Honor. The stats are pretty good, and made a key play in the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles, against that Andy Reid offense with Don McNabb and Terrell Owens. Pretty good. Derek Brooks, 5 first-team All-Pros, 4 second-team All-Pros, 11 Pro Bowls. Guys not retired, made the Bucs Ring of Honor, made the Hall of Fame, put up CB numbers plus middle linebacker stats. To me, it has to be Derek Brooks. I think it has to be. I mean, I'm not going to try to play safe like Zach is a bit. I would have gone Mike Evans, but again, like, I don't know if he could beat what Derek Brooks put on the field there. Like, you talk about the first 2 pros. Now, I'm going to give Mike Evans a nod here because you look at all the receivers in his era. There's a lot of great receivers, and it's going to be very tough to beat, like, first 2 pro. Second team All-Pro, I think he could do a lot more. I really think he could do that. And there's a lot of great wide receivers. I think Mike Evans could be one of those guys. But Derek Brooks, I think, has to be the Bucs GOAT here, folks, because not only was he the 5 first team All-Pros, 4 second team All-Pros, he was consistent in the 11 Pro Bowls he went to. You don't see that out of other guys of 11 Pro Bowls to do that. And then get the acknowledgement that he did. I really think that stands out. And he's very active in the community too. Like, win that Walter Payton in the mirror gives a nod to me. Like, what more could you say about Derek Brooks? Like, middle linebacker was the most important position, I would argue, of his era of the 2000s. If you could prove me wrong, but I really think that was the big case here. Because you go look at the Super Bowl winning teams, you had to have a great middle linebacker. Ray Lewis, go look at him. You could look at the Patriots. I don't know the names off the top of my head, but you could go look at them. They have pretty good linebackers there. You could go look at the Colts, the Saints. Look at, like, the many great teams that won, even Pittsburgh. Like, we all know Pittsburgh had the best linebackers, and they always still have the best linebackers. But you look at the winning, how you had to win in that era. Middle linebacker is most important position. Now, CB was also important, but middle linebacker is better. So I'm going to give the nod here to Derek Brooks. He is my GOAT, locking it in as the greatest Bucs player up to this point right now.
And there we go. You know, folks, if you watch the channel, it is very rare that me and Jeremy pick the same GOAT. I don't know why, but it's very rare. So it feels good. That feels good. I think we made the right call.
Let's go. We made the right call there. Yes. But folks, as always here, if you want to debate with us, leave in the chat. You want to see who's better? Put in the chats. Who should have been a candidate? Put in the chat. Who should have been honorable mention? Put it in the chat. Just leave it at that, folks. And that is what we call the Bucs franchise up to this point, ladies and gentlemen. And we also like to thank Zach, too, for being here.
Thank you.
That's a wrap for this video, folks. We'll see you next time.
See you, everyone.